What's going on, everyone? Scott here. Welcome back to the channel. Back to talk about episode 7 of Joey's season of The Bachelor, season 28. The week right before hometowns. We'll be going to the ladies' hometowns next week. But let's chat about this episode. Got my red on. On Mondays, we wear red for Bachelor Mondays. Let's hop right into the episode. Our cold open for the episode was Maria and Joey having a tough conversation and her not knowing if she can do this anymore, knowing he is this way with other women and the possibility of going to meet her family next week. Now they're in Jasper, Alberta, Canada. Just absolutely gorgeous place. The nature, the mountain, the trees, everything just looked pristine and like an incredible place to visit. Jen says she just wants to get naked and cuddle in the woods. Sounds like you're asking for a couple of bug bites and maybe some other stuff depending what part of the woods you're in. But on to the next. Joey and Jesse playing tennis per usual to open the conversation for the episode. Then we get the first date card of the episode. Daisy does get the one-on-one. Jen's upset. She has some anxiety about wanting more time to talk with Joey before hometowns and just kind of solidify that. Obviously, this is going to be a really emotional week for everyone. Hands down, obviously, to this point, the most emotional of the season, and it'll only continue to get harder as we move into the last couple weeks, last month of the season. Crazy to think that we're already in the last month. But Daisy and Joey are going horseback riding through some trails with the nature, and once again, gotta give another clap for the editing team here. Editing knocked it out of the park once again, with some music behind them riding down the trails. You know, you get a little snippet of their conversations here and there, but, you know, just an incredible scene overall. Just chef's kiss. Great job by the editing team there. Then, of course, what's a one-on-one date on The Bachelor without a little hot tub right next to the water to close it out? A nice peaceful date there for Joey and Daisy. Daisy says he keeps surprising her. She said that she can see a future with him, but said she's not in love with him yet. Then back at the house, the group date card comes and Kelsey A gets the second one-on-one. Jen says that not getting the one-on-one scares her. You know, seems like she really just kind of needs a little bit more validation going into next week and kind of just shore up some things about where he's at and where she's at going into obviously a very important week next week. Night portion of the date seems like a fairly big conversation coming here for Joey and Daisy. Daisy said she's not there yet, but she can see it and can see herself falling in love with him. Joey obviously wants her to be there right now and wants that confidence going into meeting the families next week. But overall, just a really, really honest and real conversation about how her family will want to make sure she's there in sickness and in health, especially given everything that she's been through. And Daisy can sense Joey's nervous because she's not 110% there, as she says. Joey does give Daisy the rose and is excited for this to grow because Joey sees something with her. One final surprise, a little ice skating at the end of the date, and it wouldn't be a date in Canada without a little ice skating, eh? We close with Daisy saying to the producers and to the camera, you know, kind of with her hand over her head, like, I think it's happening. So, you know, well, next week we finally get maybe a little I love you, or I'm starting to maybe think about falling in love with you from Daisy. I don't know. We'll have to wait till next week to see. But now it's group date time. They're learning how to be lumberjacks or lumberjills, if you will. They have a lumberjill champion helping out. Didn't even know that that was a thing, having lumberjack or lumberjill competitions. But pretty interesting, if you ask me. Now a little competition as they get suited and booted in some flannels. Rachel and Jen face off, and then Maria and Kelsey T face off. They have to do kind of some log roll and then log flips and then cutting a piece of a log, sawing it, and then chugging some milk, which I got to give Rachel some credit. She got it through that milk, even though she said that she was allergic. Maria was struggling with the whole thing. She admitted she's not an outdoorsy person, but, you know, she still went through the motions and did it. Kelsey T did end up winning, and, you know, great for her, but, you know, I don't really know what the scoring or the criteria of winning the competition was, per se, but good for her. And they didn't say if she won, like, extra time or whatever, if it was just like, oh, hey, you win to close out this portion of the, you know, the group date. Ladies are a little upset because Jen goes over and gives Joey a little smooch while he's doing an interview, and they can all kind of see everything transpiring. So they're a little upset about that, but it's like, in my opinion, obviously, emotions are heightened on the show, but in my opinion, it's like, ladies, there's 6 people left. What do you think Joey's doing with the other ladies? Playing tic-tac-toe? Like, no. Like, this is what happened. Obviously, I know it's a different emotion when you actually see, stuff like this happening in front of you. But, I mean, obviously the show kind of like grasping for something there, but doesn't seem like much, in terms of like drama there per se that, bring up later at the night portion of the date. Jen and Joey have the first combo of the night. Her just wanted some clarity. She said how a one-on-one would have been huge going into hometowns. Says how she's never brought anyone home before, and the different cultures in her family, American and Vietnamese, and her mom not fully understanding the American side. And definitely sounds like an interesting dynamic that would love to see next week should Jen advance. So just opening up to Joey about her family there, and overall she said she does feel better being reassured there. Kelsey T said she's at peace with seeing his other relationships in front of her, but her feelings are real and knows how her heart feels. I guess her dad doesn't even know where she's at, so that could be a tough convo come next week should she, make it to hometowns, but she feels better letting him know where she's at. Rachel said she's 100% going into next week in terms of, him meeting her family. She kind of soft launches her family, as in her own words, with a picture of her parents. Then we get a Maria conversation here. She seems kind of in her head, kind of before the conversation, just feels a little overwhelmed. She just wants it to be them in the end, as she said, and she admits even that she is spiraling. She says to Joey she's not cut out for this and expresses how much hometowns mean to her. The idea that there are other women here still, on the show and, still dating Joey at the same time as her. And Joey said, you always discredit what we have, saying that they have a connection too. And Joey obviously clearly feels something with her. Said it doesn't sit right with her knowing he has connections with other women. Joey seems kind of shocked because of how special last week was. Joey asked, is this it? Because he, kind of feels like it, and he felt like they were really going somewhere, and asked for minds made up. And it was like, wow, that escalated quickly. Then we obviously get a commercial break to build the suspense. We finally get the scene from the season preview of Joey saying, you don't know how scary it would be to get to the end and her across from me, knowing, you don't know what she's going to say or what she's going to, do. That's scary. So we finally see that scene. Obviously, that wasn't word for word, but you all know the scene we're talking about here. Maria comes back and says she maybe overreacted. Maybe a little bit, but obviously this is a heightened situation here, and obviously probably some producer manipulation there, if I do say so myself. They gotta have some storyline, and so it's like if they find out Maria's kind of spiraling in her head a little bit, like, hey, open up to her about this, and and then the wheels start turning. Joey says he wants her to be herself and open up, especially if they were in a relationship or an engagement. Joey tells her he needs someone that is fully in it. He said he doesn't need an apology, just wants her to talk through everything with him and wants her to see it and trust it. Maria says, I do see it and believe it can happen. Maria says, I'm not going to kiss you tonight, because she saw him kiss someone else, but then kisses him anyway. Joey is nervous because he doesn't know if he can trust that she'll be there in the end, and that's his biggest fear. And investing this time basically in, and her possibly not reciprocating in the end if it was her. Joey doesn't give out a rose at the group date, just wants more time to kind of think through it, and it kind of makes sense, especially this big a rose, given it being hometowns. Maria's afraid she messed things up with him. We'll see what happens. Next day, Joey's still struggling with the whole Maria situation last night that, seems like it really did a number on him. That should tell you how much, Maria does mean to him, and how much he's, feeling that relationship with her. Kelsey's one-on-one time, they head off to explore the city of Jasper. They go look at some souvenirs, get some hot cocoa, go play pool in what looks like a little pub. Then a local Canadian, as they had it, on the little, description of the man talking in the bar, said, tells them about the polar bear plunge. Kelsey says she was about to do it herself. Anyway, she was excited to do it. Joey's like, I guess we're in. Joey says, I don't got a lot of meat on these bones. Gets a little cold. Then we cut there to the lake. They go for it. They jump in with the group. I gotta say, this looks like an incredible time and seems like an incredible date overall. Gotta say, Kelsey A was a rock for Joey, because my boy, like probably how I would be, because I'm a baby and I don't do well in cold either. Like as Joey expressed, as he kept saying, throughout, this part of the episode, and he was struggling, but she made it better for him and they got through it together. So that was really, really nice to see there. Back at the house, the girls are just having a chat about how tough the week has been. Maria said she regrets telling him she wanted to leave. At the dinner portion, they talk about what next week would be like and who he'd be meeting. Kelsey opens up more about her dad and just how great of a guy he is as someone she can lean on. And she said that she wasn't close with him when she was younger due to him working a lot for the family. And just hearing more about her family and, her mom passing and how tough they all had to be, but, her dad specifically, to have 5 kids and, your significant other, the love of your life, passing away. And you got to be now that strength for your 5 kids as well. Kelsey's obviously emotional talking about all of this. And I got to say what strength it takes by Kelsey A to, open up and talk about this. Obviously not, it's probably hard even, I can't even imagine just opening about that in any relationship, but opening up in a relationship that's on camera for everyone to see, hats off for her for having that, strength to talk about that and letting everyone into that story. And Joey opens up about his family and his dad a little bit too. Kelsey A says she's nervous about him being conflicted between 2 girls. At the end, he said he will not get down on a knee unless he's 100% sure. Kelsey A gets the rose, and honestly, especially, even the more we've heard about her family tonight and specifically her dad, I can't wait over the screen to meet her family on the TV next week. She's really fun and, bubbly to see on the screen. So I can't wait to see what her family's like as well. They sound like an incredible family and can't wait to see them on the screen next week. Joey wants to be a little more decisive and trust his gut. Then we cut to the house of the rose ceremony and we get the girls talking about how they want some just extra conversations. Then Jesse Palmer comes in and, that usually is not a good sign for the cocktail party conversation hopes. And as he announces, there's no cocktail party. You kind of felt that one coming. I feel like at this point, though, in the season, we rarely get a rose ceremony when you get towards the, last two weeks, week before hometown. You really don't get a rose ceremony. Joey walks into the rose ceremony and pulls Maria, which was, kind of crazy. And I think it was Rachel who even said, like, I thought we didn't have time to talk with him tonight. But they go have a conversation. Joey said it wouldn't be right to go up there without having a conversation, even though they didn't have a rose ceremony. Maria said, I like you a lot, and I'm not running. And, seems like kind of just reassures him a little bit, even though it seems like he's still a little apprehensive about the whole thing. Rachel gets the first rose of the night, and Maria gets the last rose, meaning Kelsey T and Jen, who was my runner-up pick, go home. But, love all these ladies. I mean, this is the first time in a while that I'd say, like, completely, love the final 6 that we had there tonight and the final 4. Like all of them. Don't have a bad thing to say about any of them, at all. But Jen, gotta say, justice for Jen. Jen for Bachelorette. I had her as my runner-up this season. But starting the campaign for Jen for Bachelorette. If not Jen, then Maria. And the little preview for next week looks like Maria's dad's going to be a tough talk. And obviously, as we see, as hometowns always are, due to the situation of the show and how it is, laid out. A lot of tough conversations coming for Joey next week. So, looking forward to that. Looking forward to getting back and talking about it here next week. But thank you all so much for watching. See y'all next week for Hometowns. Peace out.